Blue Pill.
Yeah.
That was my moment to realize I didn't have to work a corporate job or any job.
Here, very special guest. This is Depesh Mandalia. Depesh is one of the so there's like the whole advertising space. So Depesh is one of the most advanced people. He's working with huge budgets with clients in e-commerce and information products, and he has very advanced community of people that are also in advertising space, ad buyers. And I mean, your experience, your track record is phenomenal. You've been in this space for how many years now?
A long time now. So I actually came into e-com in 2005, and it was just by chance. So prior to that, I was in project management, which was quite boring. And I landed a role of website manager. That's all it was. And I was like, all right, sounds good. And then I found out it was analytics, landing pages, customer experience, and then the sales side of it, I was like, this is so cool. You can actually sell stuff online and see all your analytics all the way through the journey, and I'm quite a data-driven guy, so that was my first thing. I found my niche. So yeah, I've been in e-com since 2005.
And you've had some experience with affiliate marketing as well, right?
That's right. So I came into e-com 2005, working for a hotel company, grew them really well. Then 2009, I was let go. And I think half the business
2009, which is
right in the middle of the financial crisis. Half the business was let go, and mine it felt unexpected because we've done so much in terms of growth. But I thought, it's cool. I know e-com, I've done it for 4 or 5 years now. I'm going to find a job. Days turned into weeks, turned into months.
Oh,
and
geez.
I couldn't even get interviews because everyone's trying to apply for all the roles. And I went into quite deep, dark place because my second child was just born. Big bills, couldn't pay, all that kind of stuff. So really, really dark place. Then my wife reminded me and said, look, you were looking at affiliate marketing. Why don't you use this time now?
Yeah.
Because when you're depressed, you're not thinking straight. I had days of doing nothing, but I'm not thinking, right, let's do something about it. So I started with affiliate marketing. 2 years later, we did 7 figures.
Nice.
And that was in the Matrix, you got the red pill, blue pill.
Yeah.
That was my moment to realize I didn't have to work a corporate job or any job to make money. And that was just absolutely mind-blowing. Then a year later...
Was it white hat or black hat?
It was all white hat, great white hat. It wasn't the proper black hat stuff, but we were kind of ranking for brand terms, but really long tail. So small volumes, so it was all SEO, high intent.
Oh, it's all organic. It wasn't
organic,
paid traffic.
No paid traffic.
Oh, interesting.
And this was we were undercutting brands and positioning ourselves to rank first where they weren't. So we were shoring up loads of sales that way. Then in 2012, Google changed the game, and our traffic went. And we also made some business mistakes as well. And that's what pushed me towards Facebook ads, because I needed a new platform, and paid search was too expensive for the model we were running. And then I experimented with Facebook. 18 months it took me to hack it and play and just figure things out. And then in 2014 we did, and since then it's just taken off for us.
Cool. So 2015, right?
14 is
14.
when we took off.
Oh, wow.
So 2014 took a company from 800K to 8 million. And that was we just did this through Facebook ads.
Wow.
And that's when we realized, actually, I realized there's something massive here. Because prior to that, I couldn't figure out, in 2012, I was boosting posts. That's all I knew. And there wasn't really much training online, like there is now, right?
Yeah.
There's no groups or anything.
Yeah.
So I was boosting, but I couldn't figure out, because I'd already spent millions on paid search on for companies. So all I was trying to do is run ads and get people to click. That's all it was. Ads, click, ad, click. There's no marketing behind it. And it's in 2014 when I realized it's a marketing problem. It's not a data problem. That's when things start to click. So everything I talk about right now, which is brand-driven performance marketing, that's when it clicked for me in 2014. The following year, we took them to $26.5 million.
Oh, wow.
And that was just all through Facebook. And because of that got me involved with Facebook, advising, kind of doing roadshows for them.
And so basically, was it you? How big was your team to take that brand to that level?
So that team, my marketing team, we had 18 people. And you talk about creatives, a lot of people talk about creative fatigue and how you build a creative machine. I had 2 pairs of creatives that would work on 2-week cycles. So you'd have a senior creative and a junior. So they'd have 2 weeks to deliver. And then the other team would have 2 weeks to deliver. So every week we got new creatives and new art direction. So that team had 2 weeks to deliver. But because they dovetailed, my team had new angles, new ideas every week, and we were scaling aggressively.
Wow.
So at peak, we spent about 200K in the day.
Jesus.
And that was an absolutely scary
in
thing
one
to
ad
do.
account or within several?
Multiple ad accounts, because we were doing like across the whole world.
Yeah.
So we basically split them by geos mainly. So like North America, Europe.
Have you
and
like
Africa.
translated offers to like different languages?
Yeah,
or?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the way we did our translations was when we hired customer service reps, we found people who were also bloggers and had some experience with content. So we had we used Slack, and we'd throw in all the English copy, they'd translate it and pass it back.
Oh,
and so
okay.
that meant that we had our own kind of translation machine inside. And because they were a customer service, they understood the tone and everything. And we tried external services, but they just didn't get the tone right. I remember in Germany, we tried to translate, it was like put your baby in the cot, but the translation was more like put your baby to death.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was just, we didn't even know. We ran the ad and got complaints like, what the hell are you doing? So that was like, no, we need to not do that. Because otherwise, you work with agencies, they do literal translations.
Yeah.
They don't even think about what they're writing. So,
wow.
But when we were scaling up, we had to find efficient ways to do it. And we had, so actually we talk about data, for example. We built our own platform in-house on top of the API. So we had predictive systems. We would be able to track when creative fatigue was going to kick in.
Oh, wow.
We had all audits on...
Is that still working today, or?
No, I've got the source code, just never had time to repeat
okay.
Because when I left that business, I went into different kind of things. So I've got the source code sitting there, just never had a chance to revisit it. And there's lots of other platforms like that now. I think we had some cool things going on, but just never had a chance to pick it up.
Cool. And so, like, what's your main focus right now? Like, what do you do? Who you mainly serve right now?
Sure. So, I mean, right now, my core is working with e-com companies that are ready for scale up. So, I'm not sure if you've had it, but in the agency side, you get such a range of clients.
Yeah.
Some are right at the bottom, and they've seen your success, and they're like, we want to get there as well.
Yeah.
But they don't get their basics in place.
Yeah, correct.
So something I talk about is the core four. The core four is your product, your audience, your offer and funnel. When you've got those in place, then you're ready for us to scale up. And so that's kind of the company that the agency works with. And then because I saw gaps in terms of people's knowledge and experience, that's where I went into the info space and built my training program. And then out of that, the community came. And out of that is events and all this kind of stuff. So I'm trying to offer as much as I can to as many people because when I started this in 2014 and realized what we had, as I started to get more involved with Facebook, I realized how poor the support was, not just for us, but for everyone.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tackle that problem. And I went to a senior exec and I said, you guys need to fix this because if I go back to Google, their support was so much better.
Yeah,
you
100%.
get access to everything. It was just so good.
Yeah.
And I said, what is going on? And they said, look, here's the thing. At the time, there's 5 million advertisers on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's not enough reps to support.
100%.
And then also, when the reps get more experienced and they hit the tie levels, a lot of them realize they don't need to stay at Facebook.
Yeah.
They can leave, start their
Run
own
their-
agency
yeah,
or
exactly.
e-com or
Yeah.
affiliates. So they've got a big problem. And so, back then, 2015, 2016, John Loomer was obviously a big name. They said, we don't have anyone like that in Europe. And they said to me, can't you start a community and do something? I'm like, I have no experience of this.
Yeah.
So that's where I started to share online like 18 months ago and get more involved in groups and knowledge sharing. And from then, everything's just taken off. So I think it was a good experience for me. Like I'm running a Facebook group. I have no idea really what I'm doing day to day. I'm learning from other people, but it seems to be working. The whole training program thing, it's just like when you hear from people, you've changed their lives. Just totally like transformational. It's so powerful.
Cool. So what was so you worked with that brand, like you've taken it to 20 million sales, right?
That's right.
And then after that, have they been able to continue that success?
Yeah, absolutely. So they actually took venture capital. When I joined, there were about 8 people in the team. There was over 100 and 120 when I left.
Oh.
So they've grown and they've created new products, etc. So they've kind of taken off. And that's the thing that I really enjoy is those massive scaling.
Yeah.
The problem is it doesn't always happen, right? Because you don't get your kind of basics in place. But end of 2018, we did the same again with a skiwear brand. And we did, I think, under $16 million in 4 months.
Wow.
And that was cool, but we did it at super high ROAS of 17x.
Wow.
In Q4. And the
Very
thing is,
nice.
It's when I look at it, and I'm sure for you as well, it's obvious the things you need to do, but I just see so many people making mistakes.
Yeah.
And they follow the shiny objects, and they want to see what the latest hacks are. And
bidding.
Yeah, bidding and caps and manuals, all that kind of stuff. But you get the core 4 principle right, which is your product, your audience, your offer and funnel. Work hard on that. then Facebook generally gives you what you want. You can go CBO, you can go fairly broad, you don't really need too much manual bid. Get all the other bits right.
Cool. So I know you're a family man. You have a happy family. So how do you kind of like balance like growing your business? Like obviously that requires a lot of your time and energy, and
Absolutely.
also like dedicating necessary time and energy to your family. How do you balance?
It's taken time to balance. So for example, I don't start work until 10 in the morning. So between 7 and half 8, 9, I'm with the kids.
Okay.
I help to get them ready. We cycle into the school if it's good weather. Then I come home and start my day, shower and all that kind of stuff. Then I stop at 5. Like that's a hard stop for me until 8 o'clock, and then I'll come back later and maybe check on things. But it's taken time to really split that time and make sure I have this definitive quality time. Yeah, absolutely. Even weekends, like there are obvious weekends where I have to do work, but I'll try and balance it as well. So like we were off to Canada, we're doing a 6-week vacation, and the lovely thing about what we do is you can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So I can vacation with them, we're going to go on a cruise, and then I'll come back and we'll do some days work, and then we'll do some more touring and stuff. So it's hard, but part of the reason why I actually started an agency and chose that over contracting was because I would go into different places in London, leave before they woke up, and got home when they were going to sleep. And days went past where I'd barely see my kids, and I thought, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And so that's now why we have our office at home. I spend a ton of time with them, and everything's around them now.
Cool. So how do you find like working from home? Is it like productive for you, like or like rather than like from office?
It can be a challenge. So actually, just right now we're moving our home office to the back of the garden. So we're going to build a proper building for the office. Because sometimes you do get like someone will pop in and they'll just start talking and stuff, and you need to split that out. Like I'm actually working right now. So yeah, we're working on that. The reason I don't want to go externally to an office is again because I want everything to be around my family. So having it at the end of the garden, you actually leave the house and then you can go and work and come back. That helps the split.
Cool. So I know you work like with like Tim Burtt. Like what are the we had an interview yesterday. What are the major things like you've learned from him? Because you've had several like masterminds together.
Absolutely. So the first mastermind we did was in London last year, and the crazy thing was we didn't see each other's material, and we just turned up and delivered. And the crazy thing was it dovetailed. And a lot of the things we talk about are related as well. And the kind of two talks just fell seamlessly together. I think like what I've learned personally from Tim is what he's done with the community. And that's something which I really aspire to is influencing and impacting people. That means so much more to me. And you know, Tim Burtt, Kat Howell are two people I look at in terms of how they've built their community. And that's something which I'm kind of following a track of as well.
Cool. So in terms of like Facebook ads right now, like so last interview we had, like you mentioned, you do a lot of CBOs right now.
That's right.
Like
in fact, we're switching everything to CBO because obviously September you have to. Right? So our testing, our cold, our warm, hot, everything is in CBO.
So I guess it was Sam yesterday speaking. Like so, he said that he's like best performing right now, at least for him, like $60 CBOs. Like, is that what's working for you, or like higher budget? Like, what's working?
I try and go with higher budget and use rules where possible. Now, the balance you need to get is CBOs need data and they need time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people cut it too early. So that's one thing. The other thing is you need to realize when you set the budget at the top level, some people run too many ad sets and too many ads, which means even if you've got a $300 budget and you've got 10 ad sets and 5 ads, it's like $1 or $2 per ad. And it's not enough to let it run. So we have a rule in place that, you know, for every ad set, there's at least, I think it's like $50 in place. So if you've got 5 ad sets, minimum $250. And then depending on how many ads you've got, you might want to bump it up to give the engine enough chance to test everything. And then we might manually apply rules if it's gone really, really bad.
And dynamic creative?
I'm a big fan of that now. Yeah, absolutely. So it took me a while to get convinced. But for example, like our retargeting, so I'm running an event retargeting right now, is literally set and forget. So we've got a 30-day retargeting audience. I've duplicated that in the CBO, and I've created dynamic content creative based on each barrier or objection.
Okay.
And that just keeps going. I don't really do anything with it.
I've heard you speaking with someone like every like objections that people have, like price or is it shipping time or
exactly. So that becomes one DCO ad, and then you have your variables within that. So you have
and Facebook rotates
exactly, and it gives the best performance.
Cool. So like in your experience, like is Facebook getting better like over time in like optimizing and getting you the best performance, or
getting better? Yeah. I mean, it still needs some manual control. It's not
Mm-hmm.
there yet where you can just put money in and put creatives in, but it's much better. Like you probably heard of Power 5,
Mm-hmm.
which is Facebook's push to try and get people to think more about marketing and creative and less about campaigns and ad sets and hacking.
Yeah.
The fact is, it's not quite as simple as that. Because,
Mm-hmm.
you'll know in any given account, sometimes you do need to duplicate ad sets or restart ads and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
so that you still need some technical knowledge. But I do agree with the approach that Facebook is saying is give a bit more to Facebook and let them do the clever stuff. And you focus on marketing and your funnels and things like that.
Cool. In terms of the creative, like what are your best practices?
So for me, it comes down to understanding your avatar. So when I start an ad account, I start with my avatar, and I have I look at the emotional reasons why someone would buy and what the product benefits are, and then I also look at why they would not buy. So the barriers.
Okay.
And so when I'm creating ads, I'm kind of blending all those together, and then creating my copy and my creative based on that as well. Because at the top of the funnel, so I don't know if you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
When I look at the product, I'm looking at where it sits on the Maslow.
Yeah.
Because the lower it is, the easier it is to explain.
It's okay.
And the higher it
the
is on
wider
that
the market
triangle,
is probably for it.
Yeah, and the more kind of towards the top of the Maslow is, the harder it's going to be for you to explain. So, for example, if you're selling a package on something well-being or the secret of mindfulness, it's not immediately obvious what the benefit is for the person. Whereas if you're selling a drink, people know what a drink is for. So it's that then leads me into how I'm going to build my creative. Is it going to be a video? How long is the video going to be? What my funnel looks like. So for example, if it's a $300 product and it's not really obvious what it is, I'm going to have to run a few more videos top of funnel and then build an audience and direct response.
And what kind of like do you use, like video views, objective, like reach objective, traffic, like what kind of like top of the funnel, what's working for you?
Yeah, so generally actually I find PPE works really well for video as well. There's not much difference between the video view and the PPE objective. Video view tries to optimize better for video delivery, but what I find is you get better engagement with PPE.
Yeah.
And you get better video plays. And it's something I would test as well, but certainly going fairly broad at the top. And it's not just the video, but the thumbnail is so important, and also the first 2 lines of copy, because that's going to opt people in or out. So if you say, if you're suffering from arthritis in your knees,
you'll get flagged.
But it's something which is going to connect with them.
Okay.
Not that,
not this wording.
Policy, but just something that's like, say if you're selling something around pain, and it's a joint pain thing, you need to somehow pull that into your first ad copy and your.
You need to connect with the audience, right?
Exactly, because the thing is, it's not just getting the people to interact. You also want the people that are not going to interact to just ignore the ad, because that helps your engagement as well. So, like for example, some people say click-through rate is too low at 1%, 2%. I need to get it up. It's not click-through rate; it's the conversion off the back of it that you need to look at, or the engagement of the video. So it's just trying to get people to think about the first 2 lines of your copy, opt people in or out.
Cool. And for example, for the creative itself, like do you have like some framework for like videos, like the structure of the video?
Yeah, I mean, there's the kind of typical thing that Facebook tell you about turning the curve around of getting the core of your video in within the first few seconds.
Yeah.
But also what I like to do is build a pulse into my videos. So there's like the action transitions, whether you got sound off or not. People's attention spans are so low. You need to keep them in.
Yeah.
So if your video is too long and it doesn't really transition, people are not going to engage. So for example, if I'm running a video ad for my event and it's a testimonial, I want it to be snappy. I want it to show different angles and put some images in and some text and stuff like that. And it's not about getting them to watch the whole video. Then you experiment, like 25% viewers, 50% viewers, remarket to them, create lookalikes and see what works. But I think the first few seconds are so important, the thumbnail's so important, and keeping a pulse going and keeping people engaged as well.
Okay, so it's not just like boring video, but it has to be like dynamic.
Yeah, it has to really kind of bring them in if you want to kind of, especially if it's at the top of the funnel and it's an audience that don't know you or your product.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Deepesh. So many great insights. So what would you say like would be the main tip or the main thing that you would suggest for, you know, all Facebook advertisers to focus on?
Focus on the marketing. Like, this is the big thing that's my number one thing. Get your marketing right. So, like I've said, the product, the audience, the offer and funnel, the avatar, build the creative, build the journey out.
It's like, I think people just like, you know, it's like step-by-step process and like avatar, boring, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And then they just want to test different things really fast. And then, like I put a meme out just now which said, I've spent $10, it's not converting, Facebook ads doesn't work for me. It's such a typical thing. You see it all the time in groups. They're just complaining Facebook doesn't work, Facebook hates me. Facebook doesn't care about you. They care about the user. And when you care about the user as well, that's when the magic happens.
Cool, man. Pleasure speaking with you. Always like looking for your like insights and inspiration. So
absolutely,
thank you, Deepesh. Thank you for sharing this with all of us. And yeah, I'll see you.